Good morning, everyone. I am Martina Galli from POLI.design. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the first day of our Open Day by following the video message of our Managing Director. From today until Thursday, March 19th, you will have the opportunity to explore our specializing master programs comprising over 25 courses renowned for their emphasis on design expertise. By joining POLI.design, you will become a part of the Politecnico design system, a premier hub for research and education. Ranked first in Italy, third in Europe, and sixth globally for arts and design, according to the QS ranking 2025. Enjoy the Open Day. So let's start with the presentation of the Specializing Master in Strategic Design. Please feel free to use the chat to submit any question you may have, which we will address in the second part of the session. Now, let me introduce the speaker, Cabirio Cautela. I leave you the floor.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you all, and thank you for your presence here, and welcome. My role is as director of the master to explain the main points of this kind of journey toward the strategic design world, and in particular, what does it mean to get an experience in this master, to get an experience in POLI.design and in Milano, that is recognized as a worldwide city of design, and in particular also of strategic design. The first things that I get the opportunity to say is that we will open the 31 edition in October that will come, but on the other hand, I just underline that we have a couple of seats that are available for the April session. So this is just an operative information to get you acknowledged that there are opportunities in October in this master and then also in April. What you are seeing on this screen is the faculty of the master, the main people that they run and conduct this master. From my side, there is also Francesco Zurlo, that is the vice director, Michele Melazzini, that is the workshop coordinator. He gets in touch with the company in order to make in particular the workshop realized, and then there are Anna Consolati and Marilena Tarantino that are the historical pillar of this master in terms of organization and in terms of coordination about the different activities. Let me start by a point why today, after 30 years, because you have to know that strategic design is the oldest master of POLI.design, after 30 years, we could say that the design was shaped by different events, by different trends. And today, design, in particular strategic design, is read according to different kind of perspective. For example, Buchanan, that is one of the most design scholar in 1992, he spoke about wicked problem, and in particular, it took the perspective of strategic design as a sort of integrator of different kind of knowledge. On the other hand, Boland and Colopy, they see design according to the different and multiple alternatives that strategic design generate for business and organization. On the other hand, there is all the design thinking stream, all the design thinking trend that in a way affected the way to see design as a process, as a methodology, as a guiding principle that can, in a certain way, get the project to the success. But we have also local understanding, local perspective of strategic design, because in our design research group, we have people like Verganti, like Manzini, like Claudio Dell'Era, that in a way or in another enlarge the territory of strategic design, in particular introducing a fundamental paradigm that has been adopted by different companies, like the meaning innovation. So strategic design in a certain way create a new business by changing the meaning of the artifacts of the product and of the services that the company push on the market. Anyway, what we operatively create in our master is an experience that will leave you the possibility to understand what does it mean to create a new market? In particular, what does it mean to explore new kind of business opportunity according to the lens not only of the managerial sciences, but also from a design point of view? What does it mean to change the meaning of a product, of a service? But on the other hand, what does it mean to create a new venture, a new business, a new startup according to the design tool and to the design lens. If I have to really synthesize the main learning goals of this kind of journey, by the end of the master, for sure you will develop capabilities about problem setting, problem solving, but in particular problem reframing. Because one of the things that we stress a lot is the capability of a strategic design to take the problem from another angle, to turn the problem in different facets and perspective. On the other hand, we want our students to develop their entrepreneurial mindset. It means that they see business opportunity all around and they are able to depict a process to reach some new entrepreneurial goal. On the other hand, what we say about strategic design is that who makes strategic design should take the perspective of a visionary people that and manager that they are able to build a vision, to represent this vision, to articulate this vision, and in particular also to create a storytelling around this vision, because in a lot of cases in the organization, the storytelling in a certain way makes the success among a project, among a vision, among alternative decision. If the master is in a certain way embedded in POLI.design, and POLI.design is the school where we train our student. On the other hand, we create a different kind of experiential exchange with our partner. POLI Graduate School of Management, that is the business school of Politecnico in Milano, was one of the founders joined to POLI.design of this kind of experience. But on the other hand, we offer a foreign experience with another business school that is placed in Antwerp, where we have an extensive workshop that partially is lived in Antwerp, partially is lived online, partially will be taken in presence in Milano. What's the structure about this master? We can, in a certain way, highlight 5 main macro areas, 5 main macro modules. The first is oriented to develop a soft skill, and in particular how to be present in a creativity team, how to get the leadership of a project, what are the right dimension and the right skill blending of a team. The second part is dedicated to the managerial area, in particular all those disciplines that see innovation as the final step point. So this managerial area is formed by teaching areas that they embrace innovation management, they embrace marketing, strategy for innovation, purpose-based corporation, so all the issues that in a certain way are related to the new managerial challenges. On the other hand, the design area is characterized by the pillar of strategic design that relate with designing the product system. So if we have to synthesize strategic design in a very few words, we could say that who makes strategic design in a certain way impact and design the product system of the organization, and in a way or in another impacting the organization itself and the ecosystem of innovation where the company operates. The intersection area is oriented to create a sort of blending, a sort of new mix of different disciplines that are in between design and management. We have disciplines like design management, the same strategic design is on the bridge, or the innovation management looked from the perspective of design. So there are different kind of, we could say, marriage between the area of management and design that created different kind of new discipline in this kind of intersection. What characterizes also this kind of journey, apart from the vertical teaching area, are the workshop part that can be in a certain way split in 2 main parts. We have extensive workshop in which there is a duration of 3 weeks. And usually in this kind of workshop, there are some companies, a different kind of leading organization that we will see in a while, that they give a brief and the students are organized in a consulting group. This will happen in three main workshops, in particular the workshop conducted with the Antwerp Management School, in particular, that is oriented to make a sort of sprint innovation workshop. On the other hand, we characterize this kind of journey with the intensive workshop in which the duration is 2-3 days and the brief are usually not given by a company but professional and scholar that they want to work on the edge of the strategic design today. Just relating to the extensive workshop, these are just a few companies that they provided to our masters some challenging brief. For example, some example about retailing experience. Esselunga is one of the leading company in Italy, or the banking as Intesa San Paolo, or Air France as an airline company that wanted to create a sort of service revolution in the airport, or Samsonite, that is the luggage company that is worldwide recognized. This is to say that the variety and the array of the company that they take part to the workshop activities, they vary as sector, as dimension, as challenging brief that they give usually every year to our student. On the other hand, in order to expand the perspective of strategic design, we include an extensive workshop that is completely dedicated to common good or NGO organization, for example, Banco Alimentare or AIRC, that is the Association Against Cancer, or Emergency, that maybe you know because it's the network that goes in the war countries to take the well condition of different kind of soldiers and civil people. This is to say that we have a sensitivity not only according and toward the business orientation, but also our enlarged perspective to get an impact in our society include the fact that we design for no profit and in particular non-governmental association and organization. The timeline, as I said, this is the presentation that included starting in October 2026, and in particular the kickoff will be taken on the 19th. The first period will be experienced in Milano, in particular from October to May, with the brackets that we have in Antwerp, and then you will start abroad or in Italy your internship that will account more or less for the half of the overall experience. Then you can expect the graduation part that will be start in February. If this is the timeline, we have also to say what are our profiles that we intend to create. In particular, we are completely connected to the job market with the innovation profile, and in particular, we try to explain this kind of profile according to two main streams. One is dedicated to specialists in marketing and innovation, and in particular here we recognize brand marketing or marketing directors or R&D manager or also brand developers. On the other hand, we create profiles that they are able to manage innovation project or design related project, like product manager, retail manager, or project manager, as they are in a certain way spread in consulting companies, in product companies, and in service companies. The reason why choosing these masters are very different, and they depend by the different asset on which we leverage. For sure, you will be immersed in one university that is mostly ranked into the world. So Politecnico di Milano is known not only for engineering and architecture, but design is a leading discipline nowadays in the Politecnico system. On the other hand, here you will have the possibility to meet different kind of scholars that they shape the theories of design, and in particular the last dated theories that we have in the literature, in the academic literature, but also in the gray literature that you can read on magazine, on newspaper, or other kind of journal. Then what we can say is that we create real challenges in our workshops. So the meaning and the reason why of this master is connected to what the nowadays organization, and in particular global organization, what they want by designer, what are the new challenges that they in a certain way ask to designer, what are the different ways to create creativity in their own environment. So the presence of different kind of multinational but also made in Italy entities, it's a real value that you can take away by this kind of journey. That's the point. I hope that all the main content and the pillar of this long experience have been clear. And now I pass the word and I leave the floor to Martina.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. And I'll take the floor again to provide more details about the application process for the next edition of the Specializing Master in Strategic Design that will begin in October 2026. So, on the Specializing Master webpage on our website, POLI.design website, you will find the full list of the required materials to take part in the selection phase. By clicking on the Apply button, you will be able to create your personal account and upload the necessary files. And then the application will be completed on the Politecnico di Milano website by uploading the documents related to your academic qualification. If you need assistance during this phase, you can book an appointment by scanning the QR code that you can find in this slide. There are two main steps to follow. The selection step, which must be completed no later than 60 days before the starting date of the master, and the enrollment step to be completed by 45 days. Please note that applications are processed in chronological order and spots are limited, so don't waste time and don't wait for the last minute. Additionally, by uploading your documents, you will already be eligible to attend the next day of motivational interviews scheduled for March 26th at 9 a.m. You can find the course fee listed on this slide. Along with our promotional policy designed specifically for this program, an initiative to support design potential of those who choose POLI.design. In particular, I'd like to highlight the early bird promo with a variable discount until all places are filled and the partial exemption of 15% in memory of Gianluca Spina. Valid for application received by April 17th, 2026. And now let's move on to the Q&A session, and I'll start by reading the question we received in the chat room. So let's start by the first question, that is, as a graduate in product design, which job profiles could I apply for after the master?
Yes, partially I already gave this kind of answer. When you get the profiles that we create, it's clear that a product designer enlarging his knowledge and his capabilities according to a strategic perspective can not only apply for product designer roles, but also for managerial roles that in a certain way are on the top of the project and they don't just in a certain way are part of the operative activities. So when I say innovation manager, product manager, brand manager, I'm saying this kind of role that they do not apply for single kind of activities, but they govern the entire process end to end.
Okay, thank you. Then second question, which type of projects are developed during the program with the companies? Can I have some examples?
Yes, for example, just taking a couple of companies that we had in our slide, Air France asked for designing a vision for the airport of the 2040. So there are more visionary projects in which the company in a certain way, they ask strategic designer to apply for a vision, but there are also very operative projects. For example, Syrup and the Selunga in the slide that I showed, they worked on a new sustainable packaging that were win-win for the retailer and for the company. And this kind of constraint in terms of sustainability, in terms of communication, in terms of logistics operation, were really challenging for the different constraints that the strategic designer took in consideration. So this is to say that we mostly have two kinds of projects. Some of them are mostly visionary, some of them are operative and product developing oriented, we can say.
Okay, then let's go on. Are there specific backgrounds a candidate should have?
In a certain way, our history speaks about three main profiles, so maybe there is not a sort of cutoff of profiles, but we have some familiarism with people that they come from humanities, and here we recognize different kind of, in a certain way, title and certification, bachelor. For example, the one also in literature or some related to philosophy and history. They are very few. On the other hand, we embrace the classical and typical design curricula. But on the other hand, there are other two kind of profiles of students that we embrace that are about economics and social sciences and about engineering. In a way or in another, we cover these four, but in particular, the first is a sort of minority part of the cohort that we welcome.
Okay. Then, it is possible to have a part-time job during the master. Which type of commitment should I expect?
The commitment is really is a sort of full time for at least 3 days a week. So it is possible to take some small job that they occupy no more than 3-4 hours per day. Not all the weeks are fully week. It means that not every week will be populated by lecture in the 5 days. But mostly it's a full-time commitment because on every week, more or less, you have to consider 3.5 days in which you will be busy with the master activities.
Okay. As a current student of corporate communication, could I apply the course when I graduate?
Yes, for sure. When you got graduation, it's the moment to understand in which period you will take it in order to understand the edition to which you should apply. So if you take the chance to complete your graduation by the end of the summer, you can apply also to the starting October edition. On the other side, you have to wait for 1 year for the other edition that will start in October.
Okay, perfect. Then we don't have any more questions at the moment. So let me thank you very much for this presentation.
Pleasure.
And subscribe and nothing else. Thank you very much, Cavirio. And please stay here for the next presentation.